Rid yourself of soul-crushing debt with these steps, because being in debt with the wrong kind of debt does nothing more than ruin you. Please check out part 1 and 2 in the series, as they're essential steps before step 3. Now on to step 3. If you're in debt and want out, let's focus in on adjusting your fixed costs. Just a reminder that I'm not a financial planner, but I have lots of experience working in human resources, with 25 years in human resources, helping to run many large companies and minding my own personal budget very closely. Let's get into it. Now you have to make a plan to fix this mess you have created. You have to do this because, as they say, the cavalry is not coming, and neither is Prince or Princess Charming. You have to fix this, and you can do it. You need to find money to pay down that debt. People get rich by spending less than they have saved or earned. You must know where your money is going so you can start saving it, not spending it, and then start paying down the debt. Start with your fixed costs and see if they can be changed. Let's look at housing. Where are you living, and can you find a cheaper place? Are you renting, and can you move to a smaller place? Can you move temporarily back with your family? Can you get a roommate? If you are married, you can still house hack getting roommates, for example. Lots of millionaires do that by renting out rooms in their house, or they became millionaires from doing it. Can you move to a cheaper region? Here is the small town in Italy we vacationed. I'm going to put a video in there. We have a family member with us, and he's looking at buying an apartment in Italy to live. The cost of living is so much cheaper than where we are located. I know that it's not an option for everyone, but you're in debt, and you need to think outside of that box. If you are in a big city, can you move to the suburb? It depends if you have to commute to work. Maybe that doesn't make sense. But when you're thinking about debt, you also have to think about your job. Can you ask to work from home as an option to save money on the commute and the expense of many of the cities where you might have to live? If you have to stay in a very expensive city to work, does it make sense to keep that job? I cannot answer that for you, but you do not look at things in isolation. You have to look at everything in your life, including work. I have quit jobs that have caused me to commute, and I have gone back to school when it made more sense to get a better job with better pay. Our housing costs are normally the most expensive of all of our costs. I'm not telling you to do this, but I am telling you to assess what makes sense for your lifestyle. I have family that live in Toronto, Canada, and they pay almost $3,000 a month in rent. That's a lot of your disposable income to pay for your housing. They're thinking outside of the box and thinking of changing their geographic location to reduce that cost and get to the water view in Italy. What about you? Next, let's look at our utility costs. Utility costs can be expensive depending on where you live. Electricity, water, heating costs. Although fixed, you do have some control with remembering to turn off lights if you are not in the room, and using power bars that are off unless you need to use them, and having things plugged into them uses electricity if they're on. In some regions like mine, you have to pay for water, and to reduce consumption, you can take a shower instead of taking a bath. Watering the garden might take a hit that year if you're in debt, for example. Keeping the fridge shut as much as possible and not washing every day, but do bulk loads, for example. You'll use less electricity. Wear a sweater, for goodness sakes, before turning up the heat, and your wallet will thank you. Open the windows before putting on the air conditioning. Hanging your clothes to dry outside if you can. But I have to tell you, I love the dryer, so would not be doing that. You need to decide what is important to you in terms of spending your money. I will give up lots of things to keep Amazon Prime, for example, whereas someone else might say, I can cut that expense. Choose what is right for you, and you can always cut something temporarily and then restart it once your debt is paid off. So let's talk about taxes, rent, and insurance. If you have a house, you have to account for this piece. If you are in a lot of consumer debt and you have a big house, consider what I said about house hacking, or consider downsizing. Are you sure you need all that room? You have to heat it and clean it. It's up to you, but if you're in soul-crushing debt, that house is just bringing you down, to be honest. If you're renting, do you need as big a place? Can you get a roommate, move to a smaller place, or temporarily move in with your family, as I said earlier? In terms of insurance, you have to have adequate insurance for both renting or owning a home to protect the contents of your rental and your home. You could shop around for different providers as well, as long as you get the correct coverage in your area. Internet and phone costs. You need both, but you can always shop around and look for family plans if you have a family. You constantly have to be looking for a better rate. In Canada, we pay some of the highest costs in the world. Our family in Italy cannot believe how much we pay. Neither can we. Shop around for the best rate. What other fixed costs do you have that we have not covered? What can you do to reduce them or maybe even eliminate them? Only you know the answer to that question. And now you have your homework. In part 4, we'll explore non-fixed costs and how you can reduce or eliminate them. Today, we talked about all your fixed costs, and you have some homework and you're going to look at other fixed costs. Again, thank you for watching and see you in part 4.